The Mandalorian Chapter 10: The Passenger. Despite a small setback in getting ambushed on their way back to Mos Eisley from Mos Pelgo, Djarin and the child managed to get away unharmed after dealing with a couple of bandits who picked a fight they simply couldn't win. We all figured that we'd get to see more of Tatooine in this episode, and while it wasn't exactly what we expected, it still made for a neat little cold open. Though it's safe to say now that Din won't be using that speeder bike anymore. Back in Mos Eisley, Din finds Peli Motto playing sabacc with Dr. Mandible, who claims to know a contact who could help him find other Mandalorian coverts. Desperate for new intel, Din agrees to meet with this contact, who later turns out to be a female creature who's simply referred to as Frog Lady. As it turns out, Din must transport the Frog Lady and her eggs to a moon called Trask, where her husband will fertilize the eggs there, with him being the one with information about the other Mandalorians. Things get a bit interesting afterwards, as it just so happens that neither Din nor the Frog Lady can speak each other's language. So the issue of struggling to communicate with each other is pretty prominent for a good chunk of this episode. Personally, I found it refreshing. We've for the most part seen Din have little trouble communicating with other aliens, especially the Tusken Raiders, while everyone just stands there looking confused. So yeah, it was nice to see Din be set back in this position. It also goes to remind us that not every civilized alien can speak Galactic Basic, so knowing other languages is still just as helpful in Star Wars like in the real world. Another interesting bit in this whole Din Ubering the Frog Lady story is that Din can't use light speed to travel, as her eggs are fragile and must be transported at sub-light speeds only. This of course means longer space travel and no getting out of jail free card if attacked by bandits or the sort. Again, this is something we don't see that much in Star Wars, and whenever we do, the characters usually don't have a choice as their hyperspace drive is damaged. Things get a bit awkward on board when Din finds out too that the child is secretly addicted to eating the Frog Lady's eggs, which did make me wonder afterwards if she kept count on how many eggs she had and if she knew or suspected the child was eating them. Then again, to be fair, even if she did know, then what could she have done about it? I don't know about you, but I don't see Din spanking the child anytime soon. Anyways, flying at sublight speeds poses its first real problem, as the Razor Crest is pulled over by a New Republic patrol, basically acting like the space cops in this scene. They're already pretty suspect of Din and the antique Razor Crest, especially since he's not exactly following orders. But as they come to realize who they're actually dealing with, they switch over to a separate line and everything gets quiet and a bit tense. Then all of a sudden the S-foils get locked into attack position and you know shit is about to hit the fan the second that happens. Oh yeah, this is pretty much my favorite scene of the entire episode. Not just because I was right in my trailer breakdown about these X-Wings doing exactly this, pulling Din over and then threatening to attack him, but we also get a look at life here dealing with the New Republic space cops, and surprisingly how much more lax the law was of the Empire as compared to the New Republic, where all ships are required to run a beacon pre-Empire or not. Another cool thing about this scene were the actual pilots too. We get to see Dave Filoni reprising Trapper Wolf again from episode 6 of season 1, but we also meet Carson Teva, who most people won't really know the actor, but he's played by Paul Sung-hyung Lee, who's the star of Kim's Convenience, a Canadian comedy show about a convenience store in Toronto. Pretty random, I know, so yeah, I was very surprised to say the least that a guy from a small CBC comedy series somehow ended up on The Mandalorian of all shows. Major props to Paul here, always good to see a Canuck show up in Star Wars live action content anytime. Anyways, the Razor Crest is forced to flee to a nearby snow planet and hide in an ice canyon. It's there where the ship crashes through some ice and gets severely damaged. And this is also another thing I got right in my trailer breakdown, as even though literally everyone was saying that this planet was Ilum for some reason, because, well, you know, that's apparently the only snow planet that exists in the galaxy. But I was one of the few that said, nah, that's probably just a random snow planet. And no, he's not there to collect Kyber crystals and what have you. Not to mention, Ilum would be crawling with Imperials by now too, and located in the unknown regions, so not anywhere near Tatooine like this planet was. Either way, it's on this planet where we start hearing a brand new character song in the show, and that of course being For the Child. Because yeah, Baby Yoda finally gets his own jingle on the show, and honestly, it's about time. As let's not forget, he is one of the main characters on the show, so he deserves his own song too. Anyways, after some downtime, Din, the Frog Lady, and the child have to escape back to the Razor Crest. As it turns out, the cave they were in is infested with ice spiders. And hey, if Jedi Fallen Order taught us anything, it's that random giant spiders live on all sorts of planets in the Star Wars universe. So, you know, you're bound to run into one of them every once in a while. Now, I can imagine people who have a serious phobia towards spiders may be uncomfortable with this whole scene, but honestly it had to be either this or an attack from some Wampa-like creatures because of all the downtime we were getting, then something had to give. Fortunately, the New Republic pilots somehow find the Razor Crest and save the day just in the nick of time. They afterwards explain that there's an arrest warrant on Din for freeing Quinn back in episode 6 of season 1, but also note that because he captured Mayfeld, Berg, and Xian, as well tried to help the prison guard Davin, then they're willing to overlook the incident altogether. All because these are trying times. Love that line. Din is relieved to hear that he's not getting arrested, and proceeds to tell them that he's willing to overlook the bounties for those 3 if the pilots help him repair his ship. The New Republic pilots look at each other and are like, what? Excuse me? How about you follow the law next time and then maybe you won't find yourself in trouble like this? The episode then ends with Din managing to get off the planet just barely as the Razor Crest continues its journey towards Trask. So yeah, this episode I think most will see as a filler and maybe even a disappointment. And that's honestly not the case for me. Sure, I am a bit disappointed that they're going to continue to dangle that Boba Fett bait in front of our faces for God knows how much more episodes still. But after just how good last week's episode was, then it was nice to have a slower paced episode today. You know, chill for a bit in the Star Wars universe and catch our breath. If anything, the next episode is probably gonna be more exciting than this one. Besides, we still got to see some neat stuff here too, like an ambush, crate dragon barbecue, the equivalent of a car chase in space, and the Mando fighting giant spiders. Not to mention Zero from last season making a short cameo as a translator device, which hey, at least we know Din kept his parts on the ship, for some reason. Kinda creepy, not gonna lie, but hey, let's not forget the child got its own song here, and that's about time. But that was my take on this episode of The Mandalorian. Let me know what you all thought about the episode in the comments down below. And if you haven't already, remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.